there are those people who might have a different perspective from you, and as you say, there's still that relationship that you want to maintain because there's a goodness that you see in them, and that's not so different from you. And then there are those people who are the ones in power, or the ones who are breeding hatred as the way they know to feel alive and to get what they want. And I'm wondering, with those, I've been reflecting on the Buddha's words, and Martin Luther King said something very, very similar about hatred never ceasing by hatred. Hatred only ceases by love. This is an ancient and eternal law. How, in your own heart, do you keep from responding with hatred or ill will with people who are intentionally, knowingly hurting others in one way or another, through power or through propagating othering and hate?
Well, I don't think, it's not that I haven't felt, profound aversion.
Profound aversion is different than hatred.
Hatred has this feeling of something you dwell on. To feel dislike, to feel hate, can be a healthy reaction. It's like an immune system. It's when you're, to feel anger, when something is overwhelming your boundaries, that's a natural reaction. But when it turns into dwelling in hatred, then, as Mr. Mandela said, it's like, if you continue hating, it's like, he said this as he left prison, if you drink poison, it's like drinking poison, hoping it will kill your enemies. I mean, for a start, it's not smart because it poisons your system and you become less effective. Mm-hmm. So I think the hatred and the aversion and the anger is a sort of red light going off saying something's really wrong. Mm-hmm. And we need to pay attention here, and that red light's screaming, all the time, because of this energy is being deliberately stimulated mm-hmm. by powerful forces, through the media, through the manipulation of that media, through like we've seen in terms of the voting processes that happened, and through social media, through sort of deliberately putting out false stories, through sort of this kind of energy, and I found myself, participating in some of these sort of online wars, around rhetoric, and particularly around the election processes, and then beginning to feel it. It gets to be useless at a certain point. Mm-hmm. It's like being in an echo chamber and a sort of shadow boxing match. It's not that effective. And you land up feeling upset and disgruntled and angry, and at the end of the day you don't need that energy, but you do need to have some clarity and some focus to really consider how can I and we respond effectively, and particularly if it's we, to realize when you're working with systems, it's not about I so much, it's really about we, that we have to be a collective response. And that's partly why I wrote the book Time to Stand Up, because of realizing that the Buddhist community, the mindfulness community, Dharma community, yoga communities are huge resourced communities. And we've sort of approached awakening, all of us, and myself included, as a sort of personal journey, with the Sangha as a sort of a support background, but not really understanding ourselves as as really engaging and offering something at a systemic level, at a political level, as a voice, as a lobby, as representing our values. Mm-hmm. So it was, to understand that maybe if we're going to have to take on forces that would destroy the whole planet, and we should make no mistake about it, that is actually what's happening. Mm-hmm. And that some of this consciousness is so denuded from any humane empathy, that they would rather take down and destroy everything before they actually let go of their power. Mm-hmm. Then we have to actually really consider, well, shouldn't we be responding by a collective naming and standing for the values that we hold dear, a sustainable world for future generations, for the right for all to belong and have the support that they need, you know, through social programs, through civil rights, through just laws, and so on. These are the things that we all hold dear, through compassionate society, you know, not just through a sort of a mean streets kind of dog eat dog kind of society. So you know, to understand that we to get over our personal reactions and to use those energies to mobilize, really, to use anger, to turn it to clarity and focus, and you know, and as been happening a lot in the Dharma community, perhaps not enough or speedy enough, but to really think about, you know, how to get out together on the streets, how to lobby legally, how to you know, lobby politically, and through these very channels, how to put together retreats where we really look at these issues. And you know, that to me is more effective in terms of how we can respond, just getting caught in the spiral of aversion.